Hello there, it's Andy Parks from the Washington Times. Hey, some good news. As we get closer to Thanksgiving, I've noticed there is no shortage of turkeys in Washington, and for once, not all are Democrats. That and more on the way. You know, as a listener to my podcast, you qualify to receive a 50% discount on an annual digital subscription to the Washington Times. Simply go to washingtontimes.com/Andy. That's washingtontimes.com/ANDY. President Joe Biden celebrated a victory at the White House this past Saturday morning. Yes, just hours before on Friday evening, the House, led by Nancy Pelosi and her band of liberal jackasses, were joined by 13 RINOs to help pass the big infrastructure bill. This, of course, gives the Democrats the rights to say bipartisan spending bill, which will serve to spread the blame when this cost-free catastrophe fails miserably. Biden acted as if he had personally saved America. And of course, he touted all the good stuff that's come out of his administration since day one. I think it took about 30 seconds. Oh, and Biden used the old rich must pay their fair share when it comes to taxes. You know, I've always had a problem with that because the goalposts are always moving. Not one Democrat would ever tell us what the fair share is. Until Saturday, when Neil Cavuto of Fox News was talking with Pete Buttigieg, Biden's Transportation Secretary. They were talking about funding for the infrastructure bill when Cavuto asked,
at 50%, are they paying their fair share?
Yes, or closer to it anyway. I mean, look, we're talking about folks who are doing great, who will still be doing great under this tax provision, who are benefiting from an explosion in income and wealth inequality in this country.
Wow, 50%. That means if you make over $1 million a year and you live in New York City, as an example, you'll pay the governments, meaning the federal, state, and New York City, about 64% of what you make. Now tell me how fair that is for the very people who create jobs, take all the risk, produce goods and services. I'm sure Pete will have some explaining to do about that somewhere down the road. Sleepy Joe then took questions from the media, and once again, after taking a few, he said he was going to get in trouble for taking yet another question. Hey, Joe, you're the president. You're the boss. You can take as many questions as you want. You know, it really does make you wonder who's running this show, doesn't it? One of the best moments was Biden telling the American public they don't know what a supply chain is. Yeah, I guess we're too dumb to understand what you've totally screwed up, Joe, but that's all right. You've surrounded yourself with those who do know, like Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, the idiot who was governor of Michigan. She was asked what the Biden administration was going to do to help curb rising fuel prices.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Yes, that's funny. Americans will have to pay more to heat their homes and drive back and forth to work, but that sure is funny, isn't it? By the way, how did she become Secretary of Energy? She's got absolutely no experience in the energy sector, none. That would be like asking me to become director of NASA. Anyway, back to Sleepy Joe. Did you see him blow up? Yeah. Someone dared questioning his idea to pay illegals $450,000 with $1 million maximum per illegal family. He first said it was garbage, wasn't going to happen, until he was told it was going to happen. Again, who's running this show? The following day, the White House's number 2 spokesperson had to clarify Joe was indeed behind the plan, but the dollar amount could vary. Huh? Why would someone who broke our laws be entitled to American taxpayer dollars? That's insanity.
If, in fact, because of the outrageous behavior of the last administration, you coming across the border, whether it was legal or illegal, you lost your child. You lost your child. He's gone. You deserve some kind of compensation, no matter what circumstance. What that will be, I have no idea.
So the parents bear no responsibility. We do. They throw their kid over the border, which is illegal, by the way. It is breaking the law. The kid disappears, and somehow it's my fault. What part of breaking the law don't the Washington Democrats understand? What these parents did was illegal. If I broke into your house, which is illegal at last check, and mysteriously disappeared, would my family get taxpayer dollars? And what about those who have given their lives for this country by upholding the laws of the land? Obviously, that doesn't matter to Democrats. And where's the incentive for people to enter our country legally? Sadly, it's gone. No wonder Biden's approval numbers are at 38%. Kamala Harris at a staggering 28%. Did you see her standing there for half an hour, never said a word, and at the end of the press briefing, Biden said she was doing great work? At what? Staying out of the way of the wackos running the country from behind the scenes? And speaking of wackos, Dr. Anthony Fauci and Hillary Clinton met up at a funeral this past week. I don't know if you saw it. They look like lovers, hugging and kissing. And this is the guy who was directing Trump on COVID. As we all know now, unless you watch the mainstream media, Hillary and her cronies were responsible for wasting hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars trying to pin a Russian collusion rap on Donald Trump. 4 years wasted by the left. Now finally an arrest of a Russian analyst. It seems Igor Danchenko contributed key research to the so-called Steele dossier, tying Trump to Russia. Just one problem. It didn't happen. Danchenko has been charged with 5 counts of lying to the FBI, and Hillary ought to be in jail right now. Let's see, what else is in the news? Oh, a good weekend in Chicago. Only 9 people killed, 39 wounded in the streets, and yet the police are the bad guys. Are liberal politicians blind, deaf, and dumb? The short answer, yes. And finally this week, the COVID crap is hitting the fan in California, the state with the toughest mask regulations and more vaccinations than any state is getting its butt handed to them by a state with no mandates or restrictions. Florida. That's right. The medical community is again scratching their collective heads. How can California have twice as many new cases when they say they're the ones doing it right? Oh, and has anyone seen Governor Gavin Newsom since he received his booster shot? I don't think so. Well, that'll do it for me. Remember, to receive a 50% discount on an annual digital subscription to the Washington Times, go to washingtontimes.com/Andy. You'll get 24/7 digital access to the Washington Times at 50% off. Again, go to washingtontimes.com/ANDY. I'm Andy Parks. Have a great day.